Receptionist laughs at poor girl's job application, then the CEO sees her talent and shocks everyone. The lobby of the towering glass building sparkled with polished marble floors and chrome finishes. For most people, it was a symbol of power and prestige. But for Emily Carter, standing in scuffed shoes and holding a crumpled resume, it felt like an intimidating wall between her and a better life. Her fingers trembled slightly as she approached the front desk, trying to steady her nerves. She had been turned away from 10 other companies this month alone. This was her last printed resume, and maybe her last bit of hope. The receptionist, a sharply dressed woman with manicured nails and a dismissive air, glanced up from her phone. Her eyes scanned Emily's faded blouse and worn-out jeans with thinly veiled disdain. Emily smiled politely and said, "Good morning, I'm here to apply for the junior designer role. I know I don't have much experience, but I've brought my portfolio." The receptionist let out a short, mocking laugh, drawing the attention of two nearby security guards. "You're here for that position," she said, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "Sweetheart, this isn't a charity. We get applications from Ivy League grads. People with real experience. You should try somewhere simpler." Emily's cheeks flushed, but she held her ground. "I know I'm not from a big school, but I've worked really hard. I taught myself everything I know while taking care of my little brothers after school." The receptionist shook her head, still smirking. "Leave your papers if you want, but don't get your hopes up." With that, she turned back to her phone, laughing quietly to herself. Emily placed her folder gently on the desk and whispered, "Thank you," before walking away. Just as she pushed open the door to leave, a deep voice called out from the side lobby. "Wait." She turned around, confused. A tall man in his early 50s, dressed simply in a navy sweater and jeans, was walking toward her. His eyes weren't sharp with judgment like the receptionist's, they were curious, kind. "I couldn't help overhearing," he said. "May I see your portfolio?" Emily hesitated, unsure of who he was, but nodded. "Of course, sir," she said, handing over the folder. He sat on a nearby bench and opened the portfolio. Page after page, he turned with increasing interest. Watercolor illustrations, logo designs, sketches of dresses, even app interface mock-ups, all meticulously drawn by hand. Raw, unpolished, but brimming with creativity and heart. "This is remarkable," he murmured. "You said you're self-taught?" "Yes," Emily said, eyes wide with disbelief. "I didn't have money for college, so I watched free online tutorials and practiced every night after my part-time job." He stood and smiled. "My name's Daniel Blake. I'm the CEO of this company." The receptionist's jaw dropped. The security guard straightened. Emily just blinked. "I want you to come upstairs with me," he said. "Right now." In the elevator, Emily clutched her hands together, trying to breathe. Is this really happening?" Daniel chuckled. "I started this company with nothing. My mother cleaned houses so I could go to school. Talent isn't about where you come from, it's about what's inside you. And you, Emily, have something rare." He introduced her to the head of design, who flipped through her portfolio and smiled in surprise. "You created all this by yourself?" Emily nodded shyly. "She has the eye," the woman said to Daniel. "And the heart." By the end of the day, Emily had not only been offered an internship, but also a scholarship sponsored by the company to attend a top design school part-time. Her life had changed in a matter of hours, but what lingered most in her mind wasn't the opportunity itself. It was the moment someone had believed in her, really seen her. Weeks passed. Emily became a quiet force within the company. Her designs brought fresh energy, and her story inspired many. The CEO often invited her to share her work with visiting executives. She was still humble, still helping her brothers with homework in the evenings, but now, there was a light in her that hadn't been there before. One morning, the receptionist, now noticeably more polite, approached Emily in the break room. Her tone was softer this time. "Hey, I just wanted to say I'm sorry. I shouldn't have treated you that way." Emily looked at her, and for a moment, said nothing. Then she smiled. "It's okay. Sometimes we just don't see what's beneath the surface." That evening, the company held a town hall, where Daniel Blake stood before hundreds of employees. As part of his closing speech, he gestured toward the stage. "I'd like you all to meet someone who reminds me why we started this company in the first place. Not for profit. Not for prestige. But for people who dare to dream beyond their circumstances." Emily stepped forward, greeted by a standing ovation. Tears welled in her eyes as she said, "Sometimes, the world tells you you're not enough. But one act of kindness, one person believing in you, it can change everything. I hope to be that person for someone else one day." The audience was silent for a beat. Then, a thunderous applause filled the room. From then on, Emily's story became part of the company's legacy. Her story was shared with new interns. It reminded everyone that titles don't matter, hearts do. She had walked in as the girl no one noticed, and had become the woman everyone looked up to. And Daniel Blake? He never let anyone forget. Greatness, he often said, is not always dressed in suits. Sometimes, it walks in wearing scuffed shoes, carrying nothing but hope. Moral: never judge someone's worth by their appearance. Kindness and belief can uncover brilliance hidden in the most unlikely places.